Hello, B-Baseball world. We are back here with the Beatball Blues Show. Of course, it is me, Deal D-A-W-G, and I'm here with the strongest man in beat baseball history, Seth Bam Bam Clark. Hey, Seth Dog, what's happening?
Neil Dog, what's up, man? You know, I was thinking about it's been a long time since I've done a Beatball Blues show. It's been like a month, man.
I know. We recorded both parts with JC and Larry in the same night. And then the little anniversary thing, since you failed to come through for me, I had to do by myself. So
you didn't technically have to do that one by yourself, but
well, we'll leave it the way
it is not. You know, technically, you did not have to do that one by yourself. But
leave it the way I put things. That's the way I like looking at stuff. Actually, I believe we still have thoughts on what kind of a follow-up we're going to do from our two-parter, correct?
Yes. I think we'll do a little part 3.
We'll call that a teaser. Not for tonight. We got other things for tonight, but we're not done yet. So you got to look forward to. We got part 3 coming next week. But for now, we are happy to tell everyone that we have got one of the franchises that have been around the longest. We got a legend here with us. The 4 members of the Chicago Comets have joined us. Hello, fellas. I will start out by telling everybody we got Mr. Mike McLaughlin, the Hoodlum. What's happening, Hood? Oh, Hood's probably got himself all muted.
It's funny. He's one of those people, I think, much like, myself in beatball, where, if you say his first name or people don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Huh? Who's that, man? Oh, Hoodlum. Oh, I know him. I know you.
First time I heard the name Mike McLaughlin, I was like, who the hell is that? He has a name? I thought his mama named him Hoodlum. Hood, are you with us? We've got... Hey, Hood? Oh, man. All right.
He's there. He's there. Trust us. He's there. You might see him on screen.
He's there. I thought you were talking to me. All right, well,
he's there.
We're going to go on and introduce our next guest. Hopefully, Hood will join us, the legend. After all that build-up. We also have Bill Landram with us. What's happening, Bill?
Hey, what's going on, boys?
Bill Dog in the house. I'm sorry. Just had to say it.
Appreciate you joining us. Your name is a name that I'm familiar with, but this is the first time talking with you, so I look forward to hearing a little bit more about your beat baseball background, getting to know more about you. So thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Not a problem, brother.
Mr. Richie Schultz, you with us, Richie?
Schultz. I'm here.
I'm finally comfortable. If you notice when I've been talking back and forth with you, I always call you Schultz because I want to call you Richie, because when I had JT on the show, thanks to your suggestion, it was a great one to help out. He helped me do a show about hitting, but he called you Richie whenever you talk about you, and I wanted to call you Richie since then, but I didn't know if that would make you want to punch me in the mouth, so I just called you Schultz.
Many people do. Not many. But, yeah, I've been called Schultz or Richie. Either one's fine.
But now that go ahead.
I was just gonna say, today I was pointing out to the kids, like, God, we have this dude named Richard coming on the Beatball Blues show, and all I can think is Richard Sherman. I cannot figure out this guy's last name.
It's funny,
I've been trying to remember it this entire time.
My kid likes to watch YouTube shows of football players, and one day he called me Richard Sherman. I go, what do you know about Richard Sherman? He's a defensive player.
Yeah, your kid's like 5, yeah. That's funny. That's funny. But now I appreciate you helping us put this together, Rich. You got a nice little cast. I hope Hood's still with us. I don't know what happened to dude. I don't know if he's muted or what. Hey, Mr. Jackson, could you unmute your phone and say hello? We also have Chris Jackson with us.
I'm sorry, Miss
What's
Jackson.
good? Oh no.
Not
Oh, I haven't heard that one enough.
Yeah,
God help me.
Bam
call you Miss
broke that out.
Hey, people call you Miss Jackson a lot.
I hear that quite frequently, which is hilarious.
We had both Richard and Chris on the Christmas episode for anybody that joined us then. And Seth broke into the same Miss Jackson song then when we had Kalari and Chris then with us. I'm glad you're able to work away from it.
Hey, I am nothing if not consistent.
Yeah, you know, fair enough. That's something we both
we appreciate that about you, Bam Bam. We appreciate that.
Hey, Chris, you know, tonight we're gonna have a chance to get to know more about you, because the only thing that Kalari's ever told is in regards to you joining the Comets is that you wanted to be with her so bad that you joined the team.
Well, I have a saying, and I'll just use it in the beginning. I came for the woman and ended up staying for the ball, brother. That's exactly correct. And I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it PG-13. But I came for one thing and stayed for the other.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We will leave it at that. But now tonight we're going to learn a little bit more about Mr. Jackson's beat baseball career. Hood, are you with us?
It sounds like, hey, hold on. It sounds like you say comments every time. The Chicago Comets. Comments. Comments are things I
thought I was saying. I actually thought I was saying comments, and you were going to tell me it's comments, and I'm like, how is that?
It just sounds like comments to me, and I can't hear anything. That's why I'm a DH, but I can't hear anything anyway. So I apologize.
I'm going to trust that you are probably hearing it the way the audience is. Sometimes I mutter my words. I don't like to listen to the show back because I'm like, I'm a mutter mouth. I mumble too much. So I will try to enunciate better. Hood, are you with us at all?
I don't see him.
Really?
Hopefully he comes on.
That was crazy.
Hopefully he comes on.
He was here. We were having a good conversation right until we started recording.
Right. He had all sorts of ideas for what we should do during the show, man. So it's sad that he has left now.
Honestly, I wonder if he got upset because I was trying to hold him back and tap the brakes, dude. He wanted to tell all these stories before we did the show. It's like, man, save the material.
You think he hung up on you?
No.
Hung up because he got irritated with you, Neil Dog? Somebody got irritated with you and hung up?
Yeah, no, I know, right? That is...
No, I never heard of
well, you know what? We'll go forward. In the end, like Hood, somebody I was thinking that like you and I easily could do a whole show with. So if you know what I mean, down the road, if he doesn't come back, we'll get him on another time. But hopefully he finds his way back to us. But let's jump back over to Bill, because it was actually Hood that brought this up. Bill actually used to pitch in the minor leagues, Seth Dog. I don't think you were on with us at that point. And
I was here.
okay.
I was listening to that. Yes, I was listening to that. So go ahead.
So something that's cool is Hoodlum actually saw Bill pitch in the minor leagues before Bill became a beat baseball player. So Bill, tell us about your background, man.
So I started playing baseball as a small kid, and my aspiration was always to be a starting pitcher in the MLB. Left-handed starting pitcher, through a four-seamer, a splitter, a slider, and then a circle change was my four-pitch mix.
What was the last one? Circle?
A circle change up, yeah. So just each pitch depends on how you grip the ball along the seams, and then where you position the ball into your hand and which fingers you use to put pressure onto the ball to create spin. And so the circle change is kind of a pitch that really everyone knows how to throw, because they just pick the ball up into the palm of their hand and they chuck it. And so quick pitching lesson, the circle change up, your pointer finger and your thumb create a circle on the outer part of the ball, And so when you throw it, it causes the ball to look like you're throwing a fastball, but because of where it's positioned, it comes out a whole hell of a lot slower, and then it has some dive as it gets to the plate. Little pitching lesson there.
Actually, I would like to ask for a visual reference too, though. Like visually for the hitter, is there a different look between a circle change? There has to be between a circle change and a regular changeup.
So the big difference is that the ball spins, and with the spin that you generate on the ball, because of the hand positioning in that circle shape that you create on the outside of the ball, it causes the ball to spin. And that spin then causes the ball to act kind of like a sinker or a two-seam fastball, where it's going to kind of cut a little bit and then dive as it gets towards home plate.
Okay.
Where a straight changeup literally looks like a fastball that just never gets to home plate. And then you end up swinging, 2 feet out in front of the ball.
So, not that I should drag this too far deep into a baseball rabbit hole, but I still would like to know, then would a pitcher who, threw, say, had their fastball, their best fastball is a two-seam fastball, would it be better for them to develop a circle change rather than a regular changeup?
Personal preference. A lot of that has to do with how you hold your arm, what your arm slot is when you throw, the length of your fingers. There's a lot of variation from pitcher to pitcher just based on feel.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a matter of what's going to be better based on your mix. It's more, what are you comfortable throwing?
Okay. All right. So sorry, we diverted.
So when did Hoodlum see you pitch?
Oh God, this is like 1999, 2000. It's a long time ago.
And that was just total circumstance, right?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. I wasn't able to make it as a starter because I could no longer see well enough to hit, and then I ended up on a team that would have been considered a part of the AL. But it was rookie league, so it was the step before the minors. So there's not a whole lot of stat tracking or anything that's available for it. Which is really unfortunate because I wish I had some of that stuff. The only thing I still have left from that is my uniform, which is in my mom's possession. But
so you started losing your eyesight while you were still working on your pitching career. Did what was it? Something you knew was coming?
It is.
Okay.
I was born with retinitis pigmentosa.
Okay.
And so what started to happen is I lost the ability to see at night, and then I started losing the peripheral vision. Once the peripheral vision was gone and it started to attack the central vision, it got to where I could no longer see catcher signs. I couldn't see a ball getting hit back up the middle. And that's kind of what ended my career, was a line drive back up the middle that I didn't see, whizzed past the left side of my head, right past my ear. And I heard the ball go past my head, but I didn't see it. And that was it. I was done.
I feel for you, but you knew you were taking your life in your hands because you couldn't see. But I really feel for those batters who had no idea you were blind.
You're a target.
Fastballs and stuff like that.
There's a reason why I pitched in day games. I never pitched in night games.
So did your coaches know? Was it something you?
Yeah, no, they knew about the disorder.
Okay.
The pitchability was there, the skill was there, the feel for it was there. It just got to the point where once a ball comes back at you and you can't see that ball coming back at you, you're done. So that was the end right there.
Were you? As I love this term from baseball, effectively wild?
Fortunately, no. I actually had pretty good command.
Really?
Because I'm a lefty, and so my good eye was my right eye. So I was able to use that right eye to focus on the catcher's target in the plate. And so whenever I would pitch, the catcher that I had, he would put a marker, like a white marker with whiteout pen inside his mitt so I could see his target. And so that's how he helped me with contrast to be able to make sure I'm on target.
And is your RP the tunnel vision? Or do you-
My RP is a complete disaster. It started out as tunnel vision, but now I'm total blind in my left eye. Because RP, you develop cataracts, and so I've got real severe cataracts in my left eye, which took out the central vision, and then the right eye is developing cataracts, so it's like looking through a piece of foggy Swiss cheese. So yeah, the vision at this point now is pretty much useless.
The reason I was asking, when you were talking, each time you mentioned that ball coming back at you, Eric Mazariegos, in my opinion, greatest player that ever played our game. The way he found out he had RP, and he had no tunnel vision. His is all the peripheral. And he was playing catch with another kid when he was like 8 or 10 years old. And the kid had turned his head to look at something, and Eric still threw the ball and plugged it right in the head.
That'll do it.
Because he never saw the kid turn his head. That was the first sign that Eric was going blind.
But yeah,
funny story again for Eric, right?
Yeah. So, what was the time frame on when you ended up transitioning to beat ball?
So I lost the vision in 2000. And after I had to quit playing sighted ball, depression and things take over. I ended up becoming a raging alcoholic for a while. But I got myself cleaned up and I started doing IT work and ended up hooking up with a friend from school who I am now married to, that we've known each other since like 8th grade.
That's a good friend.
But she likes to watch old TV shows, and so she had this thing for watching Little House on the Prairie. And in 2012, she had seen an episode of them being at the blind school and them using ropes and different methods to try to simulate baseball for the blind kids at this blind school. And so my wife's like, if they did something like this back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, there's got to be something that's out there now. And initially I was like, nah, there's no way. I highly doubt it. I just kind of passed it off. Well, one night, I couldn't sleep and I had to get up real early for work that morning. I get on the Google machine and I just put in, blind sports in Chicago. And the first thing that popped up was the Chicago Comets. And I was like, what? So 9 o'clock that morning, I got my break at work. I called the number. That's how I met JT. And I told him about myself. And so he's like, well, why don't you come on down? We got practice on Saturday and you can try out. So I came to the batting cages that they had and got with him and at the time Chad Perry, who was a pitcher. And I said, well, let's see what your swing looks like. So I took a couple of swings and Chad's like, I can work with this. And so from that point, I've been on the team. So that was in 2012.
Can I ask you a question? Did you go to the 2012 tournament?
So I'll lead into that story.
I just have a name, Bill.
You're going to remember because you played for Bayou City, right?
Yeah, I played for the Heat. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to remember this real well.
Okay.
You all know.
When I heard Bill, I was like, man, I think there's going to be an interesting story.
There's a good one. So that season was my rookie year, and I made a name for myself and as a DH and kind of took that DH role from Gilbert Ramos, who was the DH for the Comets at the time, because I could hit for more power and I was faster. And so when we were playing in the Bowling Brook tournament,
I'm sorry, I gotta stop. I literally want to take my headphones off and not listen to the story because I was there. But go ahead.
Well, there's a precursor to the story. So in 2012, we were in Bowling Brook and we played a home tournament, and we had 2 teams for the Comets going that year. I was on the B team, and it allowed me to start every game and play every inning. Well, during our first game against the Thunder, which we won that game too, just thinking about it. But Dave Benny was playing on the first base side, and I hit a ball down the first base line, take off running to the base. All of a sudden, all I feel is my legs slam into something. Well, it happened to be Dave Benny. Apparently, I kicked him with my thigh in his chest, threw him across the field, ended up landing on my chest, So this is the start of the injury. I had a nice bruise going across my right thigh. And my wife was like, you really should go get that looked at. And I'm like, nah, it doesn't hurt. I'm fine. Let's play ball. Finished the tournament. Continued playing ball and doing martial arts because I'm a black belt in Taekwondo.
All right.
So I kept doing that throughout the season. And then we get to the World Series. And so we're playing against Bayou City. And JT's just, okay, let's get some guys some at-bats because we were losing the game. And, it is what it is. But I get up to the plate and I crush a ball to left center. And, I mean, you were there, Bam Bam. I hit the ball well. I start taking off out of the batter's box. The third base is buzzing. And I slipped on home plate. So I kind of stumble a couple times, get my footing, grab the ground, pull myself as I uprighted my body, step with the left, step with the right, step with the left, and then really tried to accelerate off that right leg. And when I really put down with some force on that leg to really get myself moving, it sounded like a shotgun went off in my leg. Boom! And so I let out a yell in complete agony. I managed to get onto my left foot, spin myself around, and then fall onto my back without further injuring that right leg. At the time, I could still see pretty well. So I took the blindfold off, I throw my hat to the side, and I look at my leg, and I'm like, my leg's not supposed to look like that. So the femur snapped right in the center.
Oh, it's like the worst bone you can break.
It is. It tore all the muscles out of the groin. It tore the muscle in the thigh. It ripped completely out of the hip flexor. Completely ripped out of the hip socket.
You just made my thighs quiver a little bit.
And
Hey, weren't we supposed to keep this PG-13?
Oh.
So I ended up going in for emergency surgery. And Richie could probably tell you there's a lot of players on the team who are like, nope, I don't think he's coming back. Well, they have a picnic that we do every year at the end of the season, and I show up at the picnic with a walker, and I'm on my feet. And I remember Bernardo and Richie and this other friend, rest in peace, Greg Fresco, who were all there, and they were like, why are you here? You're crazy. And I told them, you mark my words, I'll be back next season. And I was. The doctors told me an 18-month recovery. I was back in martial arts school in 3 months, and I was back in the baseball field at the start of the next season.
Nice.
So, and then since then, I've had a career with 2 home runs.
We were there. Just to go back to that horrible.
Yeah.
I played right field, so fortunately I didn't hear it or whatever. But everybody, he was going to third. Our bench was all on third and stuff like that. So my mom, my dad, Trajan, they were all sitting there. They all heard it. We sat there and waited until he got loaded up onto that ambulance. But at some point, I was just like, Trajan, let's just go throw your football, man. We can't watch this anymore. It's like, we did this. We can't do this, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, though.
There were 2 outs in the game.
Yep.
Right.
Oh,
this is the last part of the game, and you know what I'm saying. And I believe you guys were going to be eliminated, or I don't know.
No, it was going to put us into the losers bracket because at that point we were undefeated at the time.
Right. Yeah. So, it was
a horrible way to start your career.
Now,
I didn't know that was your first year either. So.
Yeah. If the leg wouldn't have broken, we probably would have been able to go and have another batter go up. But the way that happened, it is what it is,
it killed us. We lost our next game too because I don't think we were quite recovered.
That could take it out of you.
I don't think we quite recovered from all that.
I ended up coming back, and throughout the years, I've hit 2 home runs, one in. We were in St. Louis, hit one against the Thunder, and then in the 17 World Series in West Palm Beach, I hit one against Rochester.
Nice.
Wow, way to hit one against the system.
I know, right?
Hood, where have you been?
I've been listening to you guys and putting out fires. I'm sorry.
All right, no, that's all good. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to Richie. You guys,
you missed your turn.
Yeah, but we'll get back to you. Bill, we're gonna get more from you also, but we got mixed in some other folks. Richie, let's get on with you. Are you still here with us, sir?
Yeah, I'm here.
So you were here. You were here with us on the Christmas show, but we really didn't get to dive in to your career real deeply. So tell us more about Richard Schultz and when you started out. I know, but tell the audience.
So when I was younger, I didn't really know anything about sports. The home life wasn't, so much like the greatest. So I was put in foster care at the age of 13, and I proceeded to fall in love with sports. Regardless of my family, my foster family or my adopted family's love for the White Sox, I became a Cubs fan. I played basketball pretty much every time I got a chance outside in the yard. 7th grade, I joined track, and I was totally horrible at it. And then so in 8th grade, I was like, they just let me join because I'm blind. And so I'm like, I'm going to try out for volleyball, like a sport that I could never, I'm total just, so a sport that I'd never have a chance in. I'm like, let's see if they let me on the team now. And she didn't. And I was like, oh, man.
Look at the little political activist.
So then in 9th grade, I wanted to join football. And I just love football. Like, I'm just like, dude, that's a man sport. I'm a beast. I'm going to do it. I was this little pudgy kid, right? So the coach is basically, in so many words, you can't see, you can't try. And I was, kind of disappointed because the freshmen automatically make it. But one of the coaches was like, dude, you could join wrestling. I've heard of blind wrestlers. So I joined wrestling for 4 years, and then I wrestled a year in college. And
how much did you weigh? I mean, what did you wrestle?
125. 125 all 4 years.
Yeah. A blind guy at 120, man, I would tell you no too, man.
Well, they're freshmen, though. I mean,
for your own good, man. I mean, come on, man. If you were 220, I'd be like, man, I got a spot for you, man. But 120, man, I don't know.
But again, a freshman automatically make it. It wasn't until years later that I heard of blind people actually kids playing football, and shit stuff like that. So then,
So
you were pretty good in wrestling, though. You said you played in college. You did it in college.
I did 1 year in college. I in high school I got to second in conference, third in conference, and then I got third in regionals. Got to sectionals. I was average. I was an average wrestler.
Nice.
And so I went to a summer camp. I don't remember what year. It might have been 2001. Was that when you guys were in Glenview?
2000 what? Glenview? No, the 2002 was Glenview.
Okay, so 2002 I came back from some camper. I don't remember what I came back from, to be honest. And my mom mentioned something about, hey, there's a blind baseball team in Chicago. And so I gave JT a call, and he's like, we're pretty much finishing up the season. Give us a call next year. I knew David kind of from the blind school and summer camps, and him and I were talking around 2003, and he's like, I'm playing for this team. You want to come and play some ball? And I'm like, all right, I never did it. So I started off that year with the Bluffs. Ironically, that was the same year that the Chicago Comets won the World Series.
We don't talk about that around here.
But I mean, in my mind, I'm like, dang it, I was on the wrong team, the Chicago team. And then, eventually I played with the Indy Thunder. The Bluffs joined 1 year when we had the World Series in Cleveland. They joined with the Indy Thunder, and I played with them. And it wasn't until like 2007 when Kansas won the World Series that I joined the Chicago Comets. That was, I think, it might have been the year that, I think that was the year. Was that the year Chad got hurt?
Yeah.
Then that was.
How do you not remember that? I mean,
because I was the one who did it. So
no, that's why like Bam Bam. I don't think knew that, but it was Rich that was up at bat when Chad's leg got broken. So how would you not know what year that was? I would think that would stick out to you. But yeah, that was in 2007 in Rochester.
So unfortunately, that was that year. And it was pretty much Dave Benny who kind of got me into the league. So, and I mean, I've had an all right career, I guess. I mean, I've got some medals here and there, and
personally,
I had one defensive medal in New York, but that's about it. I played short that year.
But that's why I think I've heard you more get credit for offense. You're a solid offensive bat, but I consider you one of the better two-way players. I think you're dependable on both ends of the ball.
I'm average at best. I mean, but
anybody who fielded balls in Rochester is a good defender because it was hard in Rochester.
Those fields sucked.
I used to joke with Kalari and say, only women wear pads. Men don't need them. And after Rochester, I was like, man, I need to put my elbow pads on, man. I'm hurting for certain.
Man, tell Kalari to stop gender shaming, man. Everybody should wear pads. Everybody that wants to.
No.
We're all diving on the damn ground.
I tell her that.
You're the one being a pig.
I'm like, real men don't wear pads. But then in New York, I got caught up.
Hey, Neil, so quick to jump on the woman, Neil Dog. So quick.
Mostly
and then he jumped. And then I got cut up. My arms were all bleeding. I remember I was walking to the plate, and the guy's like, "You need to wrap that up." I go, "What are you talking about?" I didn't know my arms were, skid up. And I'm like, "Oh crap, I'm bleeding." And then so later, I was like, "I think I resent that comment, Kalari." I had to put some elbow pads on because I was all ripped up.
Poetic justice.
Rochester was horrible.
Poetic justice.
As a matter of fact, I blew out my my leg that year, the same one I broke, and he ended up wearing my protective gear, which was way too big for him. But he ended up borrowing mine because he didn't have any.
That's right. Yep.
All right. Well, we need to mix Mr.
Oh, so I get it. This is a air out the Comets' dirty laundry in the locker room episode. Is that right?
We'll try to get deeper and deeper.
All right. No, we want to do that. We want some of the controversies. We haven't got there yet.
Hey, Chris, let's mix you in for a little bit. Where are you at? Mr. Jackson, call him Mr. Jackson. See, every time we go to somebody, they're not here with us no more. All right. Hey, Hood, since you're with us now. Hood?
I'm here, yes.
Dude, shut your computer up. You're going to talk to us for a minute. Dude, man, we've been around you forever in this sport. And
How do I shut my computer down? Shut your computer down and we'll talk to you. How do I do that?
I don't know.
I can't say that word on the podcast. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It is what it is. If we have to write explicit, we write explicit. So, dude, tell us about your background. Like, I have no idea when you actually started playing or how you found the game.
Well, in 1988, June 10th, 1988, I got out of the penitentiary of Auburn Correctional Facility in New York, and there was a lady who was my probation or parole officer. I don't want to mix the terms; they're very different. She was my parole officer, and she. I was doing a 21-year sentence. I got out in 3.5 years. And this lady had knew a fellow in Ithaca, New York named Roger Keeney.
Yeah.
And he's still around in the league today.
Yeah, he's still like in Atlanta helping people play baseball.
And this man, this man is and was, I want to say was one of the greatest people I've ever met in life, because this man allowed this lady who was a parole officer to talk to him and say, hey, I got a guy. She said to me before we have the way it works is before you get out of prison, you have an exit interview. And they ask you about your hobbies and your sports and your books and whatever, the things that acquaint you to the real world. And she asked me, do you like sports? I said, yeah. And she said, what is your favorite sport? I said, probably, baseball, you know. She said, what if I could tell you? She said to me, this young lady did, she said, what if I could tell you that blind people could play baseball? And of course, my first answer was, you're full of crap.
that was my first response. That was my first response.
And I didn't use the word crap in the response. Just seemed like, no. I used the real word. You're full of garbage. Lady, no, there's no way this can happen. The blind people can't play baseball because if they wanted to, they could strike us out forever and tomorrow.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, no. I want you to introduce you to a person. And part of it was, I think, because this man said, I'll take this poor schmuck into my house, and they needed some sort of housing to get me on the parole, because if you don't have a housing plan, where you're going to go, they won't grant your parole. And so I said, okay, yeah, well, screw it, whatever. And I hooked up with this dude. And this guy told me, he said, wow. And I give it to him. Man, look, if he didn't do the greatest sales job on God's green earth, I don't know who did. Because the man says to me, he says, hey, look, we are one of the best 16 teams in the country. And we're going to go to Austin, Texas. And it's April, and it's June. We're going to go there in August. And we got to get the money to get there. And he says to me, he says, I don't know if we're going to be able to get the money to get there because we're poor, we're small, we're little. And I thought, hey, man, I've been in the joint. I know how to con people out of money. We'll get there. Hey, you guys want to go to? You're one of the 16 best teams in the country. You must be bad. Right? And then I go outside. I haven't even, at the point we have this conversation, I didn't know anybody on this blind baseball team. And we go out there in the little field, and this fella is delivering to me, set, ready, ball, swing and a miss. Set, ready, ball, swing and a miss. Set, ready, ball, swing and a miss. And I'm thinking, when the hell are we going to hit this ball? Oh, well, I guess it's blind baseball. They don't hit it very often. Oh, well, okay. And then we got to the World Series in August of 1988. Right, because I got down in June, remember?
Yeah.
And we get to the August in the World Series in 1988. And the first team, I'm in center field. And the old spotting system, we had 1 through 5. I'm in a 3 in the middle. And we didn't have 6 spotters at that time in my life. Right. And then all of a sudden we meet this team from Austin, Texas called the Austin Blackhawks. Set-ready, ball, bing! Set-ready, ball, bing! And I asked my people, after we got done with a 16-1 shellacking, I said, how come they hit the ball more times than we did? I said, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. What the hell are we doing? Dumb people, set-ready, ball, bing! Set-ready, ball, bing! And they were hitting balls every time. And I'm like, holy Christ, you guys, we're missing something. And then we play the Bluffs. And they were in their heyday. And this was 1988, mind you. And so the Bluffs, and it was the year that they played the Albuquerque team in the finals, where they had to win the Bluffs. Yeah, the Bluffs were up in the upper half, and the Albuquerque was on the bottom half. And Albuquerque won 2 games to beat them.
Yeah, they had that guy Dick Williams pitching for him. He had never pitched before.
Sure.
Serta wasn't there with them that year.
That's
crazy.
Right. And this fella ran him all the way through the finals. And then we had to play the Bluffs. After we played the Blackhawks, And then we got whacked like 17 to whatever, nothing, 2-1, whatever the hell it was. And I asked my coach, I said, there's something wrong here. How come we're not as lucky as they are? Why don't we hit the ball like they do? Oh, then she had to divulge to me, well, he just ain't as good as they are. That's like, oh my God, this is crazy. Because I love these people. When they hit the ball to me, I get it in the chest. Look, I might get 2 putouts a game where it bangs me in the chest, but the problem was we gave up 16 runs in between those, and we're down 17 to whatever. No. Oh my God, this is crazy.
I had no idea. I had no idea you started out with Ithaca. When did you move on to Chicago?
Now that's an interesting story. I was in Ithaca. And what happened was there was a deal between, and this is the bottom of the basement league. Nobody in the upper 8 gives a damn about a deal like this, but every team wants to get better, so they make trades. So what happened was Ithaca said, well, we're not going this year. We got a couple of guys we want to send to you, the Quad City Bombers. Do you want them? One of them is Hoodley. One of them is a guy named Charlie. Charlie was a great guy. I can't remember his last name. Forgive me, I forgot. But Charlie was a good boy. He drank a lot of whiskey, a lot of often, and early in the morning. Charlie was a great guy. This is back when you didn't have any rules about booze and baseball.
No code of ethics.
This is back when the old days, right? So Charlie would drink his whiskey in the morning. He was a good boy.
Feel like we're interviewing Mickey Mantle.
That's absolutely right. So they said, okay, Mr. Jim Russell and his wife Joyce and other people on the Quad City, very gracious people, took us under their wing. I don't know what the hell they were doing or what they were smoking, but they took us anyway. And so we went in there. And we played that year in the 1990 World Series, under the lights, in the water. That was when we had to deal with the fact that teams had to call games because after 1 o'clock in the morning, the lights went off in 1990. Some of you guys, that was the year, if I don't remember right, that they switched in the middle of the deal. They switched from 2 balls and 5 strikes to 1 ball and 4 strikes.
What was up there, Dan?
Not quite in the middle of the tournament, but I believe that year they switched to 1 ball, 4 strikes, right? Didn't we vote on it in '89?
You know what? Who cares? I don't know. How'd you end up with Chicago? Let's stay on that track.
oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I forgot. I get easily distracted if I don't have my medicine. Well, the reality was, I was living in the Quad Cities, and I went upstairs to Chicago, which is upstairs, by the way. I went upstairs to Chicago and I said, hey man, I want to get in this vending program. And there was a guy named Rick Jorgensen, Uncle Jorgie. I'll never forget him. He's a great friend of mine.
Yeah, I remember Rick.
To this day, Uncle Jorgie, who used to play for the Chicago Bluffs. He took me around a tour of the blind man's vending tour, or whatever they call that, the modern day correct pronunciation of it. Was, hey man, I'm going to take you around and show you how to make money with using vending stands. Well, I never got accepted because I wasn't even bondable. At the time I went to that hearing in the staffing, they said, oh, well, this guy had a bond of $15,000 back in the day. He's not bondable. We can't even bond him for the vending program. But I didn't know that at the time I met Uncle Ricky. And when I met Uncle Ricky, we went through the vending stands that they had set up. He said to me, I said, well, man, I want to play beatball. If I come up here, I want to play some baseball. I like this beatball stuff. And he said, well, you can play. I don't think you can play with the Bluffs. We don't have a spot for you, but there's a team out there on the west side out on Wilson Park called the Chicago Cobras with Dan Green, Chris Stefano, Larry Williams. You can play with them. And I said, okay, cool. Give me their number. And they gave them their number. And Dan Green and LD called me and said, hey man, you want to play baseball? And I said, yeah. One of my greatest years of beat baseball. And I know that this dismays some comments to some dismay, but one of the greatest years I ever had was that 1992 year when we made it to the finals. I broke my hand, played 3 games on Friday with 3 busted fingers and didn't even know it.
Wow.
And I didn't know that until I got home after Saturday. When I got home on Sunday, I had played with 3 busted fingers, long ways. They broke them long ways. They did.
I've never even heard of that.
I played all those games with busted fingers. And
that 92 year was the very first year of the Cobras.
And it was the greatest year because here's the thing. The reason why it was the greatest year is because as far as the league morale goes, we were not in the code. We were not in the code. Not
at all.
We were the bad boys. We were like everything, everybody, we don't want that team. All right, good. We don't want that guy. All right, good. Throw him over there. We were the bucket team. And we had, we were not expected to make it, even though we lost by the Blackhawk by a run that year, 2019. Don't lose sight of that, because we did come back in that. We were 12-run that came back in that and made it a game and an issue and whatever. And look, I think, and that's what I told the boys in 2003. I said, look, when we won that deal in 2003, I said to them guys, hey, guys, look, if we can overcome what we did in 1992, we can definitely overcome what we do with these fellas. And the reality is, I knew that after we played that game on Friday, when you guys put us out 1, 2, 3, me, David, and Warren, I don't know what order it was, but you guys made 3 freaking-tacular plays on us. It was a 9-8 extra innings game. And I went back to my team and I said, we took the best that they could give us. And if that's the best that they could give us tomorrow, we're going to kick their ass. And we did.
Yeah. Well, we were the they, so yeah, you did. You did. Gotta give you credit there. Hey, but and not out of bitterness of 2003. But go back to 92. I was just telling Richard about this the other day when we were on the phone planning to record this show. Man, that Cobra team had so much to do with who we were as the Dogs. We loved the attitude that you guys had on the field, that you were a defense-first team. You guys, before the Dogs, the best defensive team in the league was the Cobras. And
I think part of, and you're right, exactly. Can I expound on that?
Yes, absolutely.
I think that the attitude was, hey man, nobody gives us a shot for come hell or high water. They don't think we're going to do nothing. We're just a bunch of beer drinking, bat swinging, occasionally ball catching people who are going to do something. But no, man, there was something about that Cobras. We all had something against us individually that had chip on our shoulders. They say, we're not going to let society kick us around anymore. And beat ball is the only way right now in front of us that we can display that. They're not going to do it anymore.
Now, it was that attitude and that edge that you guys had that we wanted. That game when we played you in 1994, the first time we were the Dogs playing the Cobras, the reason that game meant so much to us is because we wanted to take what you guys had. We loved who you guys were. And more credit that you guys did.
And did. I'm sorry.
That is true. That is
what
true.
we wanted, we did.
But
yours, Enfield, yours, Ed.
But also that 92 season, that was the beginning of Josh and Chad Perry. Like they had been starting pitchers before that.
They were
only 19 and 16 years old. Yeah, they were little kids.
That's exactly right.
So
And I'll
you
tell
guys
you a
made it to the championship game with all
Well,
that.
that'll tell you. Let me give you a story about that, if I could. That leads me to how I joined the Chicago Comets, because I told them boys back in 1992.
Mickey Mantle.
I feel old, right?
Dude, you sound like you could have been around in 1900 something.
It's just for the fans. Light them up like Christmas trees. 877 beat ball. Yeah, you know. But I will say this, in all seriousness, gentlemen, when I saw those boys at the end of that season, what you guys don't know is I took them boys in a room, Steve, Josh, and Chad, and Amy, and I said, you guys, if you guys are ever on another team, no matter where it is in the universe, if you guys are ever under another team, I want to be on that team. And in 1999, in January, after I had played with the Roadrunners, with Frank Messina and them, and I was supposed to play with them another year, Chadley and Josh called me up and say, Hoodley, remember that promise you made back in the day? Well, we're now Chicago Comets. Could you please come and join us? Now I had to, because I said I would back in 1992.
Nice. Hey, we need to, if Chris Jackson's made it back with us, we need to mix him in a little bit, because we haven't gotten any.
He's in jail.
Chris, you with us?
Yep, I'm still here, sir. I'll just.
We came to you earlier.
Hey, Chris, man, we got about 2 minutes for you, man.
Dang, I know. Thank God, I have absolutely no story, no backstory. I'm great. Yeah, I saw a ball, I hit a ball, and that's all I know.
All right, you play beat ball, right? You like?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, all right, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, it moves me.
Hey, man, hey, Neil, I need to cut you short. Well, I'm gonna let you go right now.
All right.
All right. Sorry, I had to get something done. So.
All right.
If I can get on, I'll get on. Okay.
I appreciate you setting this up for us, Richie.
Sure, no problem.
All right. Be well.
If we let Hoodlum start talking again, we'll still be here.
All right. All right. Hey, so Chris, man, tell us a little bit more outside of what Kalari has shared with us. So you're married to Kalari Jackson, for the audience sake that doesn't know. Most people, probably everybody knows that. And that is what led you to beat baseball. But man, tell us more about how your career has gone. You know what I mean? Where the turn came.
I mean, so I originally heard about beat ball. It's kind of funny. We go back to the Park District days in Chicago. They would do this thing and they would come out and they were like, oh, we're going to get all the blind kids together. Let's show them some beat ball. But you would hit off a tee. They would tell you the ball's at you. And you'd be like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. But my girlfriend was there at the time. So I'm like, I'll just go because it's a reason to be around my girlfriend and do, teenage shit. So I went and did that. Clary, as y'all all know her story, fell in love. Is all she wanted to do. Y'all need to come out. It's so great. I'm like, you want me to put a blindfold on, hit a ball, and run into some shit that I can't see? Yeah, this ain't gonna work for me. And this is being a high partial 20 over 200 at the time with glasses. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that, man. Whatever. I'm good. So we, being Clary's friend, she would come back and tell us all these glorious stories, and we heard about 2003, and she was excited. I'm like, to me, yeah, it meant absolutely nothing in life. I'm like, this is great, whatever, cool. Turn around some years later, started dating her. Had to watch the kid a few times because she went to practice, and then I ended up coming to a few practices. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try this. Again, came for the girl, stayed for the ball. But I would go, and I sucked. Defensively, I ain't great. To this day, I still ain't great. I just really got decent, semi-decent at hitting. So, I did, hey, I just semi-decent. It took a long time to get there. I would hit, but I wasn't fast. I'm not a fast runner because I didn't like sports unless it was chasing girls. I didn't care. It was like, whatever. I'm not trying to be athletic. But I got into it and started, doing my thing. I came on around the time Greg May, rest in peace, Greg Fosco and all of that crew came on. Started, but of course I was a bench rider because I couldn't play it. I wasn't athletic. Great. After a while, I started, my vision got worse, had a few surgeries. It's like, you know what, I'm not going to play no more. So I took time off. I played, I was there. So I would hit balls. I was more of a volunteer. And then as my vision got worse, and we were hanging out with the Rodriguez boys, and, Eric's got glaucoma. And he's like, Chris, you got glaucoma. There's no point in you being afraid. You're going to go blind. We've all accepted we have a visual disability. Get out here and do your thing. So if I'm watching this kid at the time, like, kind of motivate me, I'm like, you know what, I'm out here. Let's do this. So
I'm thinking that when you're saying it, I'm thinking, dang, Erod's way younger than this man telling him that. That's impressive that he came at you like that. Yeah, because it was like, for me, what'd you say, Seth?
I said, it's okay, old man. You ain't got to be scared. The ball won't hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of how I went. And I'm like, all right, since E got me out here, we're gonna do this. And, they were on the team at the time, so I definitely wasn't going to get no chance to start. I didn't have a chance in hell. I knew this. I owned that, whatever. Come the year we went to Miami, this is my opportunity. We had this scrimmage against them when they were just starting out to be high. This is before we got down there. Hold on. Yeah, we backtrack a little bit. So before we got down there and I had just got my confidence up and hitting, I scored off of all their starters. Now, mind you,
you're talking about the Thunder, correct?
Yeah, the Thunder. I'm sorry, the Indy Thunder. Okay. So this is the Fantastic Four in their crew. So I'm like, yeah, I scored on Eric, and I'm like, I got this. I'm good. I'll give you a good, So I'm still not getting a chance. And I think Gio ended up hurting himself in Miami. Like I think he pulled something. So I'm like, okay, cool. And Chad's like, Chris, this your chance. All right, cool. And me and Quarry had just had a big argument. Thank God that was my opportunity. So in your mind, you like, this is me hitting you because I can't hit you for real. I love you too much, man. So I'm smashing balls like I'm doing, not always scoring, but I'm banging, and I'm getting my run on. I'm like, okay,
you guys have some serious women issues over there.
Hey man, I don't know what you're talking about. I love my wife.
Just remind him of the sandwich, and he'll destroy a ball deep enough.
Yes, and that's exactly. See, Bill knows the sandwich story, which is where it all came from. So I did my thing, and I've been blessed to be DH'd. DH for a while now. I'm riding that wave until the wheels fall off.
Of course, that's a good union
job.
What'd you say, Hood?
Of course, that's a good union job. What better job than a union job?
Hey, listen, I spent a good portion of the end of my career as a designated fielder. Seth has spent a good portion being a designated
Another good union job.
Hey, yeah. Nothing wrong with a good union job. Got benefits.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but now we got the young. But now we pick up the young kids now. Yeah, that's the thing. Now we got the young kids, though, who on both sides of it. We got Lamarion Aldridge. He can hit and he can run. We got Danny. We got Alex. We picked up these young cats now. I'm like, I'm going to have to work at this for real. Now, I'm going to have to do one more sit-up and one more push-up to keep my arms right on. I'm going to be in some trouble.
Anybody else to get a job.
Well, yeah, that's my story. Nothing spectacular.
Hey, who's faster to the base, you or Kalari?
Hands down, her. I would never sum this thing in line and be like, oh, it's me. I did beat one of the fastest people on our team at the time. He outran me, but I hit more balls than he did. What year was? We was in Miami, Florida, but I won't say names, but I did. One of the biggest trash talkers in B-Ball Nation. I do have that claim to fame too. So I feel good in that regard in life.
Man,
But I don't
you
think
are
so.
talking about West Palm Beach, Florida, right?
Yeah, it's
Yes, I am.
I had never been to Miami in my life. So, all
I'm
right.
sorry, West End, brother. You're not gonna be putting me on blast, now. You know,
Yeah,
those my
I'm just
memory bad,
wondering.
bro.
Yeah,
You know,
I
Yeah, it was
know.
West Palm. It was West
I just-
Palm. It was, you know, listen. In my
Hey,
mind, it was Miami though, because it was so hot. I'm just saying.
I won't lie about that. It was hot.
It's so much
Yes.
different having Chris with us this time. Chris, when we had him on the Christmas show, he's like, "I'm not gonna say no names, but this guy," they like say two names, say these two people. You're like, you just said their name. He's like, "I'm not gonna say no names."
Well, I'm doing better this time around. I will not do that.
Oh, it's more
I will
fun
not start
last time.
controversy.
All right, so let's do a little round table with all you, kind of wrap this up and get an idea of where the Chicago Comets are now.
Comets.
I know. Seth already working on me. I'm trying to enunciate better. I'm
going to tell my son, slow down and enunciate your words, Neil. It'll be okay.
Start doing tongue twisters with you.
Yes.
So, you know, so we've been through an odd stretch since the last World Series in 2019. I know that Chicago did participate in the tournaments that were available last year, but you know, where are you guys sitting going into the 2021 season?
The bar.
Oh shit, we're gonna kick all you guys' asses and that's it.
Hey, well, Charlie, Hoodlum has spoken. But no,
right.
We have JT's back as our head coach, of course. Unfortunately, we lost one of the best pitchers around. Charlie's retired, but we still got Nick.
Whoa! Yeah. Tap the brakes. Chad Perry's retiring.
Yeah, he did. He retired at the beginning of the season.
It hasn't been reported to the ball club yet.
Oh, okay. Well, we know.
Unfortunately,
nobody listens to my show, our show. Nobody listens to our show, so you're good. Wow.
Well, okay. So
yeah,
we have that. Then we have. Yeah, that was
breaking news.
You guys writing articles for weeks and weeks and weeks. You guys going, did they do it? Did they not? Did they do it? Did they not?
But we ready. That's what I'm gonna say. The squad's definitely.
We're what? Ready for what? Ready for what? We're talking about breaking into the top 10.
Oh, we already in top 10.
We're already in the top 10. We're staying there.
That's not the problem. We looking to come. We looking to come knock at least the top 5, man. We in the top 10. The Comets goes at least knock on the top 5. Don't let you know that we still there. Not that we done fell asleep because the Thunder younger and faster. And all these other teams got all this speed on them. The Jets and Bayou City still banging. We gotta let y'all know we still here. Our team is rounding up and getting better with more youth and speed, so we ready for this year.
Yeah, we've got some good young athletes that have joined the team. Even a couple of guys that I play ice hockey with. So, we've got some youth, we've got some speed. A couple of them as their bodies are developing, they're developing into some power, and a couple of these guys are really good. Fundamentally defensive players, and so it's going to make especially for us like Hoodley and I who play the outfield, it's going to make our jobs easier. But yeah, we're definitely it's kind of like we're rebuilding but still trying to stay competitive, and I think that we're going to be able to accomplish that, and there's no reason why we can't stay within the top 8 to top 5. I don't see why we can't do that. The only way that we're going to end up having any kind of a fallback is if we beat ourselves, and that's just not something that we're willing to accept. We're not willing to beat ourselves. So
now that's something that's kind of been a staple with all the Chicago teams, I think. Like even like if the teams that you're facing if you're facing a Chicago team, even if they're not faster or if they don't have better athletes than you, they still gut it out for 6 innings. I mean that's something that,
let me ask you this, Neil.
that's been a staple.
Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you're the East Bay Blaze or Sacramento Thrashers or
Look at that
whatever you
memory.
guys called yourself back in the day,
Right.
and you played against the Chicago team, would it be fair to say that when you hear the word, "Oh, I got to play Chicago," the first thing that goes into your mind is they're going to play fundamental baseball and we can't screw up? Is that right or no?
I mean, I don't know that those would have been my words, but the sentiment's absolutely correct. I mean, I've always considered the Chicago teams to be like a blue collar team. Like, you know what I mean? You're going to show up, you're going to play defense. You know what I mean? You're not just going to roll over and take a loss or whatever.
But I mean, I got to be honest with you, right? I've always looked at you guys that same way, but it's always a question of, well, where do we get you in the tournament? Because you guys are also a kind of hard partying team that, you carry that throughout. I mean, that I've always, it's just is what it is, right?
But not all of us party, though.
But he's right. I'm not saying back in the day, he's right. Absolutely. Bam Bam is right. Back in the day, he was right.
And so that I always thought was like an edge that especially if
you get
Friday,
them deeper,
it's
in
like,
the tournament.
oh, okay, at least they're, Friday morning, you're good. Because they're still clearing the cobwebs out, man. We just love hearing it's
now,
like, oh, yeah.
But now we got a new detox program, Bam Bam, that gets them cleared out by Tuesday.
Hey, Hood, before we break the party up and let everybody have their evening back to themselves, I want to ask you two incidents involved our teams. First, go back to 1994 when
I'm probably going to be put under the lights on this. All right, go ahead. 1994.
That round robin. We've talked about the game in great depth on this show before.
I never have.
No, Seth and I have. Yeah, you're right.
Wait a minute, man. You guys hey, man, what the hell?
I don't want to relive the whole thing because we've done it on the show before. But that 1994.
I wasn't there.
You can go listen. The 1994 game between the Dogs and the Cobras. Is that you've been around the game for over 30 years. Craziest game ever? History of the game? History of the sport?
Is that the one? Well, no, wait a second. That was the one in Fort Lauderdale, right?
Yeah, and the round robin.
I dropped the ball. Otherwise, we had a 21-0 lead, and I dropped the ball.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. We had you guys in a run roll by the fourth inning. I don't know what you're talking about.
That would have been the 2002 game.
No, Fort Lauderdale, 1994, round robin, the last game of the day, and we were playing you guys, and you were the team we wanted to be, and we went into that team with. I wasn't even playing. I had a dislocated shoulder. I'm on the sideline with my arm in a sling.
That's why I think that was the 2002 game in Glenview.
Not even
where you
close.
were in your site.
No.
Wait a minute.
We are 1,000% sure. There's not a question on.
Yeah, there's no maybe. I can't believe you don't remember this game or whatever.
Wait a minute. Why do you guys don't believe Hoodley can't remember that game? He's been in so many cities. He's done so many beers. He's smoked a lot of medicine, which was required by his medical physician.
Fair enough.
Why would you say to me,
I don't
remember why Hoodley doesn't remember?
All right, we'll ignore 1994 for a minute. Let's fast forward to 2003. The Chicago Comets beat the Dogs in the championship game. So
in the first one.
What?
In the first one, right?
Yeah, you beat us in both games in 03.
Right. But I thought I was giving you credit so I could stop at the first one.
No, I don't even really want to talk about the games. That night, after the banquet and everything, Bam Bam, Eric, Christina, Seth and I we're there. I don't even know who else. We're hanging out. All of a sudden, there's this banging on Bam Bam's door. And we go out of it, and we can't get out. There's this big old like bookshelf type thing blocking our door. We can't get out, and we just hear you guys running down the hallway singing "We Are the Champions." Were you one of those people? Were you with the group that did that to us? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I absolutely do not, my friend.
You didn't even know that happened? That's what your team did.
That sounds familiar to me.
That's what your team did to us, man.
I would have paid to witness it.
They're banging on our.
Look, if my team did it, good for them, but I wasn't part of it.
Yeah, they're banging on our door, and we were irritated. Like, who the hell?
Is that a problem for you guys in California? Do you guys not like being leaned on as losers that day?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking.
I don't. It's funny. I don't remember that. Not
You
that.
don't?
You know.
Oh yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense.
So me and Bam Bam are in the same category. Me and Bam Bam are like, no, it never happened. Even if me and Bam Bam were.
Look,
I didn't say it never happened. What I said is, I don't remember.
Bam Bam's memory.
You weren't there, right? Weren't you?
No, Bam Bam's memory. Bam Bam had literally died and came back to life in 2006.
Right. And I'm with Bam Bam. I have his memory and Bam Bam's memory and Billy's memory.
Before 2006, things are a little sketchy for Seth at times. Not always.
No, mine goes back to before that. Mine before 1999, I might remember something. But after that, I don't remember nothing.
Man, you guys, somebody from your team, a group of people from your team come banging on the door, and we're just irritated. Like, who the hell thinks we want to be bothered right now? We don't open the door. Hold on. We open the door. We can't even get out of the room. We're trapped, and all we hear is like 3 or 4 players from your team go, "We are the champions," as they run down the hallway, man. They killed us.
But were we right or were we wrong? Were we right?
No, you guys got us. Actually, I think it's one of the greatest like little prank things that's ever been done in the sport. Even though we're on the losing end of it, I thought
I don't even remember it.
I bet Christina would. If you ask her about it, she would. But I've never been able to find out who. Like, I talked to Kalari about it. She didn't know who did it. I'd be willing to bet those Prairie brothers.
I think that.
I don't know.
I think you guys are out of bounds. I don't remember any of that.
Well, then, I don't know what else to do. On that note,
these guys are asking me to remember if I remember some stuff back in the day. I'm talking to my wife on the phone. And these guys want to remember if I went banged on their door and said, "We are the champions."
All right. You know what? On that note, I'm just going to wrap this one up. We're not going anywhere with the stories.
You shut it down, big boy.
You know what, though? Before we close things out, Hood, this is from the bottom of my heart. You are one of the best outfielders that's ever played this game. Like, you know, people don't break up defensive players in beat baseball, like infield, outfield, as much as they should. But for my money, you are one of the best outfielders that's ever played our game, and I hope people remember you that way. I mean, you were like, you have always been like a rabid dog out on a defensive field. You don't quit on any balls, man, and I give you total props.
Well, let's talk about that. Remember when you hit a ball? I think it was you. I'm not sure if it was you. I tried. Boy. But you hit a ball to God and Jesus, and Julie said something about "Don't worry, it's over your head, Omni." I didn't hear that. But I went into the water in the creek, and it was you who hit that ball.
It was.
And I went into that water, dove into that creek, and pulled out that ball, got out, started walking back toward the field, and the fella said, "Out." Right. And I'm like, wow, what the hell happened? And you said there was an issue with the bag, and you didn't get a good read on it, or whatever.
Yeah.
I came out of the creek, and I got the ball with the bag. with the ball, and I'm good to go.
Right.
And I thought that was one of the. I mean, man, I stunk for 6 days to how high. My own team didn't love me anymore because of that bullshit play.
Yeah, no. So for
didn't love me anymore.
No, for the audience sake. So this is 2000. It's in Taiwan. And right before the tournament in Taiwan started, they had like 7 to 10 fields set up, but they got hammered with some rain before the World Series, and they had to, because of floods, they had to shut down a lot of the fields. And we only had like 5 fields to play on, so the games were being staggered. There was like puddles all around the whole place, and so this field we were playing Chicago on, it's to get into the championship game. The winner of this game, it's the undefeated game where the last 2 teams left undefeated, and the winner was going into the championship game. And it was at night, and out, there's the 170-foot line for the home run line. And in right field, the outhouses were like 10 feet behind that home run line. There was a flood out there, and like they weren't even using those outhouses because they were broken, they stank, there was stuff all over the ground. And I roped one to right field. I hit the ball off the outfield. I didn't hit a home run. It bounced before the 170-foot line, but it went all the way to the outhouse. And Hoodlum never gave up on it. He went and dove and all that stuff. But I had been running to the wrong base, and I realized that I'm coming across late. Like going across the middle of the field trying to get to the right base. And the whole time, Julie Perry, their spotter, has her back to the field. So she doesn't know that I ran to the wrong base. And while Hoodlum's running through this little sewer trap out there, she's yelling at him, stop, he's already scored, leave it alone. And Hood doesn't stop. He goes and gets the ball. And literally, he technically put me out. But because Julie was talking to him, they called me safe. They called it interference, spotter interference. And they gave me the run when she wasn't helping him. She was telling him, stop. So, and I ended up being that was the year I was offensive MVP. Had they not given me that run, Danny Fabiano would have been the offensive MVP instead of me. So.
Now get nothing to do with none of it other than climbing a pile of shit and he getting on some.
Yeah, I heard that Hoodlum stunk to high heaven after diving in that water out by the outhouse.
Dude, nobody would let me in their house. Nobody would let me in their custom abode. I don't think immigration, the border system would let me into the shit the way I stunk that day.
All right. On that note, fellas, we got to wrap this up. We've been going so long. Richie had to leave. I think Chris is asleep. I might be wrong. You awake, Jack?
I'm not asleep.
All right.
I'm awake, sir.
All right. Hey, fellas, I appreciate you guys coming on, talking some Chicago b-ball with us. I apologize to Bill and Chris if we got a little too carried away, but like I said at the beginning, Hood's a legend in my mind. So getting to talk old b-ball is always fun. And Hoodley, man, there at another point in time down the road, we'll bring you back just so we could talk some more old stories. People love to hear the
Hey,
old
dude, you got a
stories.
phone number or something I can?
I don't. I'm completely unreachable. No, I definitely. I'll tell Richard to share my info with you.
All right, fair
Yes.
enough.
Yeah, no, everybody's still there. I don't think anybody clicked off quite yet.
No,
And
No, we still there.
Yeah. Oh, it's being
and I'll just add, hold on, and I'll just add before we leave, because I thought about this before, and we brought it up in two, both incidents were brought up, or both dates were brought up, but just to underline the importance in the dog's history, the Comets in Chicago, I should say, overall, you guys really framed the Dogs' history, at least the first part of the Dogs' history. That game in '94 really started the Dogs by giving us our us taking your attitude away and making it our own. And then
we put ourselves on the map with that game.
Yes, that was our
so
game.
You guys are saying that you learned a lot from us that day.
That was big
before that, we learned from you going into that. We wanted to be you going into that game.
We wanted to be the bad boys.
We wanted your reputation. We wanted
the only way
to be the bad boys.
Be the bad boys of b-ball was to take it from you guys, you know. So, but on the flip side, in 2003, when you guys beat us twice in the championship game, that was the last time the original Dogs ever played together. That was it. We never, ever, ever played it together again. And so I always look at,
you guys never played together? All you 6, 7 guys, you never played
together? Not our main core. And actually, Roger wasn't with us in 03. So we had already started to decay a little bit, but the 03 definitely tipped us down
the Don, the Eric, the Mike, the me, the you. We never pulled it together. Never
recovered. Schultz is back with us.
And so just as I was thinking of the comments in Chicago, I see. Hold on.
Yeah, you guys are talking over each other. Calm down.
I know. I'll just say I see the importance that Chicago has played in the Dogs' history. So I enjoyed hearing your guys' all the stories you guys had, from Bill to Chris to Richard to Hoodlum. And Hoodlum, I am surprised. This is the longest I've ever talked to you in my life, man. So
even though you've been around each other for 35 years.
That's true. He's right about that.
Seth, about 10 minutes in, Seth's probably like, I had no idea that was his voice.
Yeah, right. No, totally. You would have. If I would have heard your voice, never would have picked it up.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, Bam Bam, I spent more time with your dad than I did with you in the summer.
Yeah, that's the case with so many b-ball players. And both his parents, in the end, everybody in b-ball loves the Clark.
They know them better than me because I'm antisocial. But let's wrap this up. We hit our hour-and-a-half time limit.
Oh man, we're way over. Yes. Richie, man, we're checking out of here. You got any closing notes since you came all the way back?
No, I think I'm good. I didn't hear the last half hour of it, so I'm hoping it is great material.
Oh, it's fantastic. Hood and I agreed.
It was all stories about you. All about you, Richie.
About the young beast.
I forgot to do this earlier. I want to welcome Richie to the official Guide Dog family. This is your first Guide Dog, right?
This is my first Guide Dog, yes.
Yeah, Richie just got out of Guide Dog school about a week ago, so congratulations for that.
Children are so much more efficient as guide dogs. I tell you, they read signs.
Amen. A CNI children, not a CNI dog.
All you do is say, "I'll take away your tablet," and they'll lead you anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, breed signs.
And I don't have to clean them after they go to the bathroom either.
I get those CNI children.
All right. On that note,
okay, we're out.
I am going to wrap up the recording. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck with the 2021 season. I look forward to seeing what you guys do. Look forward to hearing your games in B-Ball Nation when they get streamed.
Don't forget to wear a mask.
What?
Don't forget what?
And don't forget to wear a mask. You can't step up to the plate.
Okay.
Yeah, we always close the show out with that. Appreciate it or not. Everybody be smart. Be safe. Be considerate. Mask up. Thank you, Frank Porter, for your help with the show.
Republican.
Oh, man.
This guy in the background.
Thank you, Frank Porter, for your help. And good night. It's Cindy.